Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.
Let's be completely honest. Are you happy with your job? The fact is, a huge number of people can't say yes to that. Too many of us are stuck in a job we've outgrown or one we never really wanted in the first place. But we stick it out and we give reasons like, what if the next move is worse? And I've put years into this place. And maybe the most common one, isn't everyone miserable at work? But there's a difference between reasons for staying and excuses for not leaving. It's time to get unstuck. It's time for Strawberry.me. They match you with a certified career coach who helps you get from where you are to where you want to be, either at your existing job or by helping you find a new one. Your coach helps clarify your goals, creates a plan, and keeps you accountable along the way. Go to strawberry.me/career and get 50% off your first coaching session. That's strawberry.me/career.
Hello, and welcome back to the Psych Legal Pop podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about popular culture through the lens of an attorney and a therapist. I'm Brooke Brigham, and I'm the attorney.
And I'm Tess Brigham. I'm the therapist.
So we are here today to talk about Love is Blind, episodes 9, 10, and 11. Mm-hmm. But before we do that, we have a couple of segments.
Fun segments.
New segments that we're going to do. If you just want to get straight to the Love is Blind, just fast forward.
Fast forward. 15, 20, I don't know. I don't know how long this is going to take us. I mean, maybe we'll be generous and I'll make a note of when the timestamp is and we'll put it in there.
Okay.
Now I got to get out my pen here and make this note.
But otherwise, we had a couple of things that we just wanted to get off our chests, basically. And so this segment is called Rebuttal.
Yes.
So, it started out, fortunately, we don't get very many negative comments. People seem to like our podcast. We've gotten some very nice,
yes, we have.
very, very nice reviews. And if you've left a review, thank you.
Yes, we appreciate
that is
you.
So nice, because I know you took the time to do it, and it does not go unnoticed.
Yes. And quite frankly, when we started this podcast, I truly thought the only people that would listen would be our mother and maybe some randos.
Yeah, a few friends.
So the fact that people are listening to us, other than people that know us, it's thank you.
Yeah,
we appreciate
it's amazing. But we have gotten a couple negative comments. And so we just wanted to have a little rebuttal.
Yes.
We wanted to address it.
Yes.
So
and oddly enough, these negative comments, they tickle me. They really, really do. It just make me laugh because I feel like negative comments, it's better. Obviously we're striking a chord, and I think that's good because it means that, I don't know, it just means that we're doing something right. It's better to strike a chord than just to be so boring that people don't care.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So anyway, so I'm going to read a couple of them are from the Apple Podcast.
Yes.
So I'm going to read these and we'll talk about it. And then there's one that we got, the very first negative comment we ever got.
Do you want to start with that one?
Okay. You want to start? And this actually came, this person who I believe is a man, I'm sure all these negative comments are from men.
No, I think this guy, should we say these people's names?
No. Okay. Don't say the name, but this person didn't, he or she, I don't know, but went and found our Instagram accounts, like our personal Instagram, and left an Instagram direct message
to both of us.
And
emailed us to
and
the Psych Legal
emailed
Pop
us. Yeah.
at Gmail account that we have. Yes.
Okay. So that took a lot of time.
Yeah, that was 3 messages.
Yeah.
Yes.
So anyway, I went back and tried to find the DM. I can't find it.
Yeah, neither. No.
So anyway, you summarize what it said.
So this person, I believe, is a man and had a male name. Was responding to the Casey Anthony episode from very early on, and this person was upset because we made one comment that we made was about Casey Anthony's father, George, who was a police officer, and in the documentary they mentioned that George was a police officer in Chicago, and then suddenly was no longer on the force. And they moved to Florida. And we both said, okay, most likely he probably got kicked off the force. Because usually cops don't leave the force freely. It's usually you get kicked off. He was very upset about that. And I will give it, because he felt like we just blanketly, like, how dare we just assume that happened? And okay, I'm going to give you this because we don't know what happened.
We were just speculating.
We were speculating because, again, it's a podcast.
It's a podcast. These are all our own opinions and speculations. And we try to say that unless we have some authority. But
and so the other thing was that this person was saying was that for 2 educated women, they were surprised that we were so quick to believe Casey Anthony, that she was innocent, that we believed her story, that we were just a couple of suckers.
Stupid.
We were just stupid. And okay, fine. I mean, listen, maybe I'm a sucker. Maybe I am. Maybe I believe people too quickly. Maybe I am. I was not on that jury. I'm not a judge. I'm not any of those people. I am a therapist, and I have to believe people for the most part. And I'm an empathetic person, and I try to see people's sides of their stories. And there is nothing for me to gain by trying to find the holes in her story. This was her opportunity for all of these years. Everybody's had their opinions out about Casey Anthony and what she did and what she didn't do. That girl has been raked through the coals. And whether or not she hurt her daughter or not, we don't know. And none of us are ever really going to know who did what happened.
But we are entitled to our opinions.
Yes.
This is a podcast. This is where we give our opinions. We talk about things and we give our opinions. And that is our opinion. We have the right to it. And guess what? I am a lawyer. Okay.
Yes, that is true.
And I did look at this with a critical eye, and I understand how hard it is for someone to get an acquittal. I also was very swayed. If it was just Casey Anthony on there talking about it herself, maybe I wouldn't have been so swayed. I was really swayed by the fact that her entire legal defense team came on this documentary and defended her and actually told us the things that none of us knew, that gave us the information. Because when a case is in the media and it's being tried in the media, you're really only hearing one side.
Yeah.
It's heavily, the side of the prosecution, and you've got all these talking heads who are heavily on the side of the prosecution. You really don't hear the defense. And here were the defense lawyers laying out facts that I'd never heard before, that were coming out for the first time. And so I was looking at it critically, and that was my conclusion, and that's my opinion. And everyone's entitled to their opinion, and I wouldn't call someone stupid for having a different opinion than mine.
Yeah.
And so, that's my rebuttal.
Yes. Okay. Very good. Very good rebuttal, Brooke.
Yes.
Okay. See,
Okay.
this is why she's the lawyer. I always go to the sensitive places in the world. We just thought it was perplexing that this person felt the need to really track us down and
make sure we knew.
And make sure that we knew their opinion. And then the funniest part was this person wanted us to know that they were going to give us a 1-star review, and then they gave us a 2-star review. So something happened between sending these messages and what happened.
Maybe the finger slipped.
The finger slipped.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's more Brooke's rebuttal on that one. Okay, what's the next one?
But also, too, I do tend to believe the best in people.
Yeah,
because
you know what?
There's nothing wrong with that. And also,
it's a good habit, actually. It really is.
It means that you're a good person.
Yes, it does.
When you tend to believe the best in people. And sometimes it gets you in trouble. But you know what? I would rather be, on that side than just like believe it that everyone's bad.
But the other part of it too is a big part about life is you do have to trust. Mm-hmm. You have to trust.
You can't survive.
A big part about anxiety is the control or the lack of control. And the thing is that there's a good chunk. It's like you have to trust. When we started this podcast, we had to trust that we were going to figure it out, that we were going to be
someone
good
would
at
listen,
it, that someone was going to listen, that we would enjoy it, that we would get along and do it. Like, if we did not have some level of positivity and trust and belief and faith, then
that's very true.
You wouldn't leave your goddamn house.
You wouldn't take a chance to go to school.
You wouldn't become a lawyer. I wouldn't become a therapist. Yeah.
To just get in a relationship. Anything.
Yes, people. Yes. Okay, let's move on.
Okay, let's move on. All right. So then, I'm going to save that one for last. Where was the other one? Oh, okay. Now, this one, the title of the review is MAGA Bashers,
which I love, and I wear this proudly.
And with a 1-star review. So it says, making the stupid decision to criticize conservatives because you simply differ in opinion is simply alienating half the population. Won't be tuning in again. Okay. Well, whether you're tuned in or not, first of all, we don't criticize conservatives as a whole. No. We do criticize MAGA people, Trump supporters, and Trump. We hate Trump. And if you love Trump, then just don't listen.
Goodbye.
Yeah, this is not the podcast for you. And
at this point, back in 2015, 2016, when he got elected, I said to myself, okay, I'm going to wait and see. I did not vote for him, but I was willing to go, I'm going to wait and see what this man does. I'm going to wait and see. But this pandemic did not need to happen.
No.
Millions of people are dead because of him. And this billionaire that he claims to be is begging people to pay for his attorneys. I'm sorry. I'm not even going to get into this because this is not a political podcast, but goodbye.
And
goodbye. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Also, half the population are not MAGA people.
No, they are not.
Not at all.
No.
And I'm not talking about conservatives of the old Republican Party. I have friends who are, Republicans, the old Republican Party.
Yeah, Reagan.
It's hard to know what to call it anymore.
Like the Reagan, Bush, that era.
Yeah, you can't call the Republican Party doesn't exist anymore. It has become, there's like a MAGA party, the Democratic Party, and then there's this party of people who used to be Republicans, and now they don't know what to do. Yeah. Some of them have defected and become Democrats or independents, but MAGA supporters do not make up half the population, and we're not trying to alienate. And we're here talking about these fucking stupid reality shows, okay? and it's like we also like to talk about more serious stuff, and we have done some shows that were, had some political elements to them, but. It's not a political podcast, but I love politics. I love to talk about it. So
we talk about documentaries, and there are political things,
components.
And we don't. So fine, I don't care. Like goodbye.
All right.
Okay.
Last one.
This one's the best.
This is a doozy. Okay, so the title of this review is "Like Them, but But this person now I know this is a man. I'm going to say he. I can just tell by how it's written. 4 stars, though.
Yeah, okay.
So
well, thank you. We appreciate that.
I hope you're still here.
Hello. Yeah, we're not mad.
I hope you're still listening.
Listen, I'm not angry at any of these people. I hope you guys understand.
This is just a rebuttal.
Yes, it's a rebuttal.
It's a rebuttal
we're rebutting.
Okay, so this is the review. Okay, this is about the Chris Rock episode, which was just a few weeks back.
Yes.
Okay, listen to the Chris Rock episode, and they definitely took a comedian too literal. I'm so over people who listen to comics and find it too crass or think they are being serious. He was clearly joking about the punch card and the whole abortion part. Self-deprecation is part of his comedy. Also, Chappelle is not against trans people. He calls out the hypocrisy of the LGBTQ community and cancel culture and stands by his jokes about them. Jokes in all caps. Every other race, gender, culture is joked about by Chappelle, and they are included in that, and that's why he continues to lay into them, not because he's hateful. He's making a point. Why is this so difficult for everyone? If you're the type of person to say there's nothing funny about ... you are not fit to enjoy the art of comedy and should move on to something safer. Okay, now there's a lot in here.
Yes.
There's a lot to unpack in here. And I want to say... first of all, I mean, I don't know. He really went off on Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle was mentioned once for
Very
about
briefly,
10 seconds.
I don't know what we even said.
Well, I went back and okay, well, first, let me address the Chris Rock part. First of all, we started out the podcast gushing about Chris Rock. Gushing. I love
Chris Rock.
We both love him. We both love Dave Chappelle, too.
Yeah, I love Dave Chappelle.
By the way.
I love Chris Rock. I've seen Chris Rock live twice.
Right.
I love Chris Rock.
Now, we discussed several of his jokes. Mm-hmm. The only joke that we did not like was the abortion joke.
Because you know why?
Because it's not funny.
It's not funny. And
not funny at all.
It was not a funny joke. And I was not, quote unquote, offended by it. It wasn't that. It was not a funny joke. Plus, quite frankly, I felt like the joke was beneath him. I really did.
Exactly.
I felt like the joke was beneath Chris Rock, that Chris Rock is too smart, too funny, too clever to have made that joke.
Yeah, it's a very hacky joke.
It's a hacky joke, and he's above it.
He is.
And on another note of that, I don't feel like men have the right to joke about abortion or menstruation or, certain things. Just as if I'm not on this podcast joking about erectile dysfunction or men's issues.
Right.
I just feel like on the whole, if I was a male comedian, I probably wouldn't joke. I would not joke about abortion. But again, I'm not going to make a big issue of it. I'm not going to get on my soapbox and tell people about that. I would never do that. The issue that I had was that the joke was bad and it wasn't beneath
funny,
him.
Yeah. And so then how Dave Chappelle got looped into this was that I went back and I listened to what we actually said. So about 23 minutes in, you were talking about what Chris Rock had said, that his family would have trouble accepting someone in their family if they were gay or transgender. Mm-hmm. And then somehow Dave Chappelle's name got brought up, and I just said, making a distinguishing between Dave Chappelle and what Chris Rock was saying. Mm-hmm. And I said something about how Dave Chappelle has a problem with transgender people because he doesn't believe that if you're not born a woman, you can just simply choose to identify as a woman. And that is true. Dave Chappelle has said it himself out loud. He says he's Team TERF. TERF is an acronym. It stands for Trans Exclusionary Feminist. And these are people who believe that transgender, how do I say this? Female transgender identity is not legitimate.
Female transgendered identity. I don't
like, you can't call yours. Basically, they don't believe that transgender women belong in the traditional feminist. I'm not explaining this well.
So that a transgendered woman cannot be a feminist?
Well, they can't identify. Kind of. I don't know. This is very confusing to me. And that's...
I've always been confused about this Dave Chappelle and the trans rights and the issues. People have been talking about it. I am so confused by it because I never understood
It's super confusing. And even last night, I was trying to look up like exactly, what he has said and what it means and everything. And I still can't even articulate it today. So all I was saying that there was a difference between the things that Dave Chappelle says, and that joke that Chris Rock had or whatever. I mean, my God. I mean, and then this person just really went off on that. Like somehow I don't understand comedy but again, I don't really think that Dave Chappelle's trans jokes are funny.
Yeah. I didn't
you know, they're not funny either. Just like the abortion joke wasn't funny.
And again, they're not funny and they're beneath Dave Chappelle.
Exactly.
Dave Chappelle is also an excellent,
he's amazing.
He's an amazing and funny, clever comedian.
And, you know, I felt like, you know, the tone of this review was that somehow like, you know, oh, we can't take a joke. Let me tell you something. I've been into comedy my whole life. I've seen Sam Kinison. I've seen Andrew Dice Clay. I've seen raunchy shows. I love Chris Rock. I love Eddie Murphy. I love Dave Chappelle. I mean, look, I'm not like some Pollyanna who's like, oh my God, oh, what did he say? You know, it just comes down to even all of these brilliant comedians, they say things sometimes that are not funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's my rebuttal to that.
And these are all our opinions. Listen, just as your Apple reviews are your opinions.
Right.
And I understand that. That's fine. You know, we have the right to our opinions. You have the right to your opinions. But, you know, here we go. So just keep debating.
Maybe we'll just, maybe you have a little better understanding of
where we're coming from.
So anyway, you have a segment also.
Yes, but I feel like because it's now almost 20 minutes in, and there's a lot to talk about with Love is Blind.
You want to save that?
Yeah, I'm going to save that because I'm still perplexed by... I was going to do this segment called What's Up with Chris Harrison? And I've been oddly enough listening to Chris Harrison's new podcast, and I don't know why I find Chris Harrison, this really banal, boring white guy, so fascinating.
I don't know why
but
either.
I do. I find him so perplexing and fascinating. I don't know why. This show is so weird. He has this show and he takes callers and it is the weirdest show I've ever seen. It's just so bizarre.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
we'll skip
work on that one.
Yeah. We're going to workshop that a little bit more. I'm going to workshop it. Okay.
Okay.
So we're going to start with Love is Blind. And this is perfect because it's 20 minutes.
Okay. So we're going to, there's a lot here. So we got to kind of go through it kind of quickly.
But there's a lot, you know what it is? And some of these episodes, when we get to this point, I kind of fast forward through some of it because it's just like, oh, you look so nice in your dress. Oh, I never thought I'd ever be married. This is such a weird experiment. Oh, but it's like,
it's a lot of fluffy stuff.
Got it. You know?
Well, okay. The big thing that happens, episode 9, the big thing that happens, we open up with Jackie and Marshall. They break up because,
well, kind of moving along here pretty quickly. Okay.
Well, I don't know what happened.
Well, so Jackie and Marshall, they return home. And they return home from that party, from Chelsea's birthday.
Oh, okay.
And then Marshall says to Jackie, Marshall loves Jackie, no doubt. He doesn't know where he's so sure, he knows for sure, but now he's really unclear. And Marshall asks her, what do you need from me? And Jackie says, I want to talk about this tomorrow. And I'm really with Jackie on this.
Because it's midnight.
Because it's fucking tired. Midnight. And I'm like, God, Marshall, shut it up.
Yeah.
Like,
read the room.
Yeah. So I'm with Jackie on this. And Marshall says, he wants to stop sugarcoating everything. He needs to know what she needs from him. He doesn't want to be ruminating all day long. And I'm thinking to myself, what's happening? Why does he desperately need to know? And then she just says, just love me. And then it ends. And I'm like, okay, so this is setting ourselves up for something else? That was weird. Anyway.
Well, it just kind of showed you Marshall's at the end of his rope, and so is she.
Yeah.
I
think they had to show us that to show us the next scene.
Yeah.
But then we see Bliss and Zach, sorry. And we see, this is Zach's family, which I thought was really interesting because we see Zach's sister, Alexa, who looks just like Bliss.
That was one of those girls was his sister?
Yeah, so it's his sister, Alexa, and he has a niece, Emerald, and that was his aunt, Becky, who looked just like his mom.
I thought that was his aunt and uncle and their 2 daughters.
Oh, I thought Alexa was his sister. Maybe Madison was the cousin, but maybe Alexa's
a cousin.
Madison.
They're cousins. They're sisters.
I thought that was his sister. Oh, okay.
I thought that was.
I got that way wrong. I have to go back and look at that. But anyway,
whoever they are,
Bliss wins the family over. They're super happy.
Yeah, and it gets revealed. What I have here, I don't know if it was revealed here or I read this somewhere else. This kind of makes Zach's story even sadder. His mom was killed by a drunk driver.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
God, I missed that.
It wasn't on the show. I wrote it down here, but I think I read it somewhere online.
Oh, God. How sad.
I know.
She was in the picture with him, right, at his
law school graduation.
And he said later on to Bliss's father, he said, how long have you been practicing? 6 years. So that means
so it's not that long ago.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago that he lost his mom.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, God.
Yeah.
It's even sadder
with
him.
It is sad.
So the biggest story besides Jackie and Marshall breaking up is like Chelsea and Kwame. This whole thing.
I've had a complete turnaround with how I feel,
really,
because I was very like in the last episodes, I was like pro Chelsea, anti Kwame. I've completely flipped.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I have some different feelings about Chelsea these days, but my feelings about Kwame are the same. I think I'm seeing more Chelsea now, but I don't know. Anyway, why don't you talk about, because now we're at Chelsea and Kwame. You go ahead.
Well, okay. So, it's clear throughout all these scenes with Chelsea and Kwame that Kwame is really just nervous.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't seem ready. He doesn't, because, and a lot of it has to do with his family. I mean, his mother clearly doesn't want him to get married. I'm sure she wants him to marry a woman from Ghana.
Yes.
Obviously,
who's also Christian. They're
right.
Christian.
There's a lot of religion involved in this, the cultural things. And it was sort of like, SK's mom she liked Raven, but that SK's family, they wanted him to marry like a Nigerian woman, but Raven was okay with them. But I just think the pressure, and then his mom won't even really talk to him about it, won't appear or even have her voice on camera.
She won't even pick up the phone.
Yes. And he feels horrible about this. Mm-hmm. And his father doesn't know. He hasn't told his father. I mean, he's probably too scared to tell him. I don't know. He's got a lot going on. Mm-hmm. And also, even though... Oh, here's another tidbit of gossip that I heard, that apparently they didn't get enough people for casting in Seattle, and they had to kind of expand their casting.
Oh, okay. So we've been ripping on Kwame this whole time,
right,
saying
about
that he's
the
an
Portland
opportunist.
thing.
Okay. Sorry, Kwame.
Another piece of gossip is that a picture was unearthed this week of Kwame on the set of Married at First Sight.
Oh.
Like he was...
Recently? Or a while ago?
Well, probably a few years ago.
Oh.
But he was a contestant. I don't know if he didn't make it to the final cut, but he was trying to get cast on Married at First Sight. And this is the same production company that does it. So maybe they reached out to him.
Got it.
So... I think he was brought into this thing, maybe somewhat reluctantly.
Okay.
But
hold on a second. You were trying out for Marriage at First Sight. That's more of a gamble.
More severe.
Yeah, that's even more of a gamble than this one.
Yeah, I don't know. But these are just things that have come out. I mean, I'm sure someone will connect to the dots at some point. But anyway, I just think he's having a tough time. And Chelsea is so desperate to get married. Yeah. And start having kids. And I just feel like she is just doing this kind of like... this like white lady thing of, really just, he's trying to express, I have problems. And she's like, oh, it'll be fine. It's fine. Because she's more concerned about herself. Mm-hmm. It's like he needs to cater to her. Mm-hmm. She's really not taking how he feels into account at all. And I don't think that this is just Kwame being wishy-washy. I think he has like serious concerns, and she is just obsessed with getting married, and she wants what she wants, and she's just telling him to just, why are you doing this type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that in this first scene, you see them and he's, she's shopping and he's upset because I guess that morning he said they woke up and he said, hi, hey, are you okay? And her first response is, do I look okay? Do I sound okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'd be.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I just get over things. I'm direct. And I'm like, I hate it when people do that. I hate it when people are like, well, I'm just direct. I'm like, no, you're just being an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, why do you have to be an asshole like that? I mean, yeah, that would bother me too. If I said, hey, how are you feeling? Like, do I look okay? It's like, fuck you, then I won't ask you. And I think that, what he's saying to her, which is when I was a little bit like, oh, geez, Chelsea, you're kind of being rude here, is he has no support system besides the friends he made through Love is Blind. He really has no support system in Seattle.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm not backtracking from what I've said before, which is, yes, you went on the show, and yes, you met this woman from Seattle, and yes, you kind of needed to, you needed to think through a little bit about this, but you kind of don't know until you get there what it's going to be like. And I think it's really hitting him how little of a life he has there, and it's getting to him, and she has zero empathy, and her solution to everything is, well, see, this is my family, this is my family, this is my family. And I keep thinking, like, well, why are you suggesting to him like, well, let's go check out and see what soccer players and soccer opportunities, and let's see, let's find some running things for you, and let's okay, how do we do this, how do we do that? Like she and again, I mean, we're not seeing every single day. We're seeing what production wants to show us, but it really doesn't seem like she is. If in her mind she thinks that this is going to work out and they're going to live here together, like, she really isn't trying to make this work for him at all.
Yeah, and then when they went to go see her family, her mom is like, "Oh, you're going to come over every week for dinner, right?"
Yeah, I mean, no, he's just like, "Woof."
I think he's just scared of these people.
Yeah. So, yeah, she's so happy in love, and he feels like everything is so confrontational.
Yeah, and she's like, "Tell me you love me," and forcing strawberries in his mouth.
Yeah, and oh God, that whole thing.
She seemed drunk.
Yeah, she was so aggressive. She's like, "Oh, babe, let's do this, babe," and it's like, God, where are you? And what fucking shopping place is this? Where and the stupid glasses or the gold mug things, what are they? Goblets are there, and the strawberries. I'm like, I never get this when I'm shopping. I guess I'm shopping at the wrong places or something. I don't know, but yeah, she's shoving, and he's saying, "Oh, I don't really want any." Like, no, have one. It's like, God,
yeah, no, she was
tone it down, lady.
She was being weird. I think she had a little too much whatever's in that goblet.
Yeah.
All right, so then Brent and Tiffany, Brett, sorry.
They're meeting Brett's friends. Of course, his friends are great, and Brett wants to be with someone who is driven and focused so they can build generational wealth. Of course, they're all wonderful and
they're all great and wonderful.
What else
I mean, there's nothing to say about this couple. They're just too perfect.
Now it's 8 days to the wedding. To the weddings. And Paul and Micah are having dinner.
And she's saying all of her stuff is in Scottsdale.
I really don't understand. Where does this woman live? Does she live in Scottsdale?
I don't know.
Does she live here? What does she do?
Her stuff won't fit into his house. I don't know. Because then I was thinking, well, is she like Kwame? Does she actually really not live in Seattle? But then she says she has a place in Seattle, but we've never seen it. But she has those friends.
Mm-hmm. So she obviously has a life in Seattle.
Maybe she lived there at one point. I don't know. There's still something fishy about this.
Yeah.
But Micah says something about, would you want to do long distance or move to Scottsdale? If we don't get, and then they're like, if we don't get married, what would we do? But they're talking through all these different scenarios, but I swear I feel absolutely no passion between these two.
Oh, really? Well, Paul says that he's like afraid to lose Micah. And
I know that's
Micah
what
says
I mean.
Paul makes her want to be a better self.
They say these things, but they're so robotic. Like,
really? I think there is a spark between them.
Okay.
I don't know. I think they like what is the opposite. And again, after meeting Paul's mom, I really do. I think I see what Paul likes about her. And I think he sees that, his mom, what's missing. And I think for her, I think she likes how analytical he is. I think that grounds her. I don't know. Okay. I see it. So now we're back to Zach and Bliss. And now poor Zach is meeting Bliss's family. And Oh no, this was
her mom.
this is her. This was the good side.
This was the good side. Yeah, the sweet side.
So we meet her mom and sisters. We meet the mom, Catherine, and the sisters, Tatiana and Anna Lee.
Yeah, and they seem kind of a little bit nervous.
Yeah, but they seem, the family, I mean, they're obviously skeptical, but they grow to enjoy him. I mean, Zach has to tell them the story of Irina and what happened. And Zach tells them how he grew up in poverty and he had to learn everything on his own. And he's dated women in the past who didn't accept him. And he just sort of felt weird about, Bliss and not being accepted by him. And, Bliss's mom says she trusts Bliss's judgment, knows that she, wouldn't be accepting him if he wasn't special.
Yeah,
blah,
and
blah,
she
blah.
says if you guys, end up together, she says, I'll be your mom.
Oh, it's very sweet.
It was very sweet. I mean, he really did win them over.
Yeah, he did.
Because I have here, when they first sat down, I think they were a little bit skeptical, but he won them over, and they all seem very sweet and nice.
Yes. Now we're back to Chelsea and Kwame. Oh, God.
Oh, God. Is this where...
This is where they go to the family's house. Now,
Okay.
are they like on one of those islands? Are they at
Kinda
Mercer
looks like
Island or
it.
Bainbridge Island or one of those? It looked really nice. I was
Yeah.
like, God, where is this?
Yeah.
Could I move here? This looked nice.
It did
It's like,
look nice.
Really beautiful.
Was that like her parents' house?
Well, yeah. So this is mom, right? Her parents are divorced. So this is mom and mom's family. I don't know. I maybe there was a Chiron saying where they were, but yeah, it was like it looked like it was right there on that lake. I was like, this is great.
It's pretty. But yeah, I think I think this was very overwhelming.
Yes.
For Kwame, because they're just all over him. Like, they just want him to be part of the family, which is sweet. But again, he's feeling so many. You can just see it's written all over his face.
Yeah. Oh,
he's
yeah.
feeling so many reservations.
Well, and the best is we meet Chelsea's mom, Olem, Olen or M. So she pulls Kwame aside, and you think, okay, they're going to have this talk, and she says, "So, what do you think of Rocky?" And I'm thinking, your first
dog.
question out of the gate is the dog. And again, I'm a dog lover, but I don't know if I would lead with that. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, is that kind of like a weird, good tactic question of like how he feels about the dog? Is like, I'm going to learn something about himself. But she just asked the most weird questions.
I don't know. Yeah. Her mom, I wrote down that her mom is very dismissive and superficial. Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of fakeness.
Yeah. So, and then Kwame, this is where Kwame starts talking, right? And it's almost kind of like Kwame's convincing himself. He's like, sometimes I think I should settle down and live in Seattle. So maybe this is what I want to do. And this is what it is. And this is what I want. And I don't know. I mean, and these are these moments where I go back and forth on Kwame. Like, there are times where I see him and I think, is he really trying here? Is he really trying to figure out whether or not he wants to marry this woman? Is he really interested in her? Or is he just doing it for the fame? Or, that's why I'm constantly going back and forth of how much of is this him just putting in the motion so he doesn't seem like a jerk on TV? Or is this really him trying to figure out if he wants to do this?
Well, here's the thing. When I looked at his Instagram, he has a lot of photos of him traveling.
Yes.
He really likes to travel. And he told Chelsea that he really wanted to travel. She says, well, I want to have kids and start having kids in 3 years. And that didn't really seem like enough time for him. And then she's like, oh, I'll just strap the baby on me. And it's like, honey, it's not that simple.
Yeah.
Traveling with kids is not like a vacation.
But I also think that it depends on the kid and the temperament. I think if you have a kid who can roll with it, I think there are some kids that are great and can fall asleep.
I've been traveling with my daughter since she was born, but it is very different.
Yeah.
Like when you're traveling with a child, there's a lot of stuff you can't do. And everything revolves around the child's schedule and keeping them entertained.
Yeah.
It's a trip. It's not like a vacation.
Yes.
But so but Chelsea, again, she's so like wants to impose what she wants on him. Like she's taken nothing that he's said about what he wants into consideration. And she just thinks that she can just, I guess, just impose it on him. Like I think she feels a little, I don't know, like superior to him or something. I don't know.
Interesting. You know what I think? I think Kwame came on the show. I think he thought, okay, at the very least, I'll get some more Instagram followers. I think he met Micah and I think he met Chelsea, and I think he liked them both. I think he liked Micah more because she likes to travel. I think he felt like he and Micah would have their lifestyles would fit better. And I think he could have a lot more fun with her. I think he was like, I think he liked the fact that Micah was Scottsdale. Like she had a very similar situation to him. And she was fun and she had that kind of thing going on. And I think in the back of his mind, he was a little nervous about Chelsea and this lifestyle that she had and the family and, this steady life and all of that. But I think that I think that's why he was devastated, no Micah. And then he kind of turned around and which a lot of people do. And again, I think it's very intense in those pods. And I think it's very easy to be like, okay, I have this other person and they're validating me and I need to pick someone and I'm on the show and I want to keep going and I want to see this through and all my friends are here and they're getting picked and all of this. So, and I think he and Chelsea had a real attraction and I think they saw each other. And again, I think they had a real attraction and we all saw that. And I think they spent Mexico just
fucking
the entire time. I think they had a great time. And I think
but then when they got back to the real world.
And I think they just fucked the entire time. And I think all of that went way far back. And I think that slowly, day by day by day, Kwame's realizing like, oh crap,
right.
Oh crap. Oh, this is not at all the lifestyle that I want to live. And again, some of this is on these people signing up for this and not thinking clearly at all throughout the entire process. And some of it is the show and how it's all set up that you can't think clearly through the process, much like The Bachelor, right? Like
you get intoxicated by these romantic trips and
but also how do you think clearly about a relationship when you're surrounded by these other people where everybody's getting engaged, where I think Kwame probably should have just walked away. Do you know what I mean? He should have just left because Chelsea, I think he did have an attraction to her. And quite frankly, I think they probably, if they met on a vacation in Mexico, they could have fucked for a week, had a great time, and then separate ways. Do you know what I mean? But I think that's the problem is that they just, it's just not conducive at all. I still maintain that Kwame, I think that Kwame wanted to stay on the show. I really do. And I think that he really wanted Micah. He wanted to stay on the show and he really tried to get Chelsea to fit this. And I think he got, what's the opposite of dickmatized? Like pussy-matized in Mexico.
Pussy whipped.
Yes. In Mexico, which kind of got him to this side over here.
All right. Anyway. So now it's, I have here
the most boring part.
7 days till a wedding, dress shopping.
Yes. Blah.
The only thing of note that happens here is that, so the guys are at the getting fitted for their suits and whatever. The women are at the dress shop. So Jackie, does not come to the dress shopping. She's a no-show. And so I guess, Tiffany texts Brett, tells him that. And then Brett tells Marshall, and he's like, okay, well, thanks, for looking out for me. And
Brett.
Give him some warning. I know. Brett always does the right thing.
Yes.
Knows what to do. And meanwhile,
Dun, dun, dun.
I don't know when this happened, but if it's the same day or what.
No, I think it is the same day.
Okay, so Jackie and Josh meet up at a cafe.
For coffee.
And, he basically tells her he loves her.
He apologizes for his behavior.
Yeah.
Losing you is the biggest regret, and he loves her.
Yeah, and then they kiss each other, and it looks like...
no, because then it becomes episode 10... And then Jackie says when she saw Josh, she was immediately attracted to him. And Josh says that he was taught not to show his emotions. And Jackie agrees, like, actions speak louder than words. And then the two of them kind of rip on Marshall. They're like, yeah, you know, she basically says, like, Marshall's too sensitive for me.
Yeah, she said she chose wrong.
Yeah. And
she could see marrying Josh, but not right now.
Well, legal marriage, what she said, Jackie says that she got robbed herself from the jump. I don't know what that was about. That was like when she said yes to the proposal or something like that. Like, legal marriage scares her. She's willing to see what's going on with Josh. Then they start kissing, and then I see some tongue.
Well, yeah, I was going to say their kiss looked like they had kissed before, honestly.
Really? So you think they made up this little...
I think they'd already, maybe hooked up, and then they had to film this scene or maybe this was after she broke up, and then they had to film
But, you know, it was so sad. Poor Marshall sitting there, like, getting his suit measured.
I know, and he's all
excited.
Kind of
and
excited.
And then he's having to tell his friends, like, oh, Jackie's not at the thing. I mean, that's bad. Like, that's a production call meeting. Like, that means, ooh.
Yeah. And then something I thought was weird was Kwame's there with his best man, and it's someone from the pods who dated Chelsea, some guy named Jack. And it's like, your best man is someone you just met like a month ago?
Oh, so I kind of thought that maybe, so I was getting so confused because I knew that guy looked familiar, and I'm like, oh, wait, so are these some of the other people from the other storylines? Because we all know, right, that there are other people that got engaged, right?
Sometimes I've heard that happens, and they just don't make it onto the show. But yeah, I thought that was strange that was his best man.
And then the Lachey show up for whatever reason to say, oh, here's your wedding stuff. This is always the most boring part of the show, where we have to look at everyone's wedding dresses. I'm like, I don't care. And then we have to interview someone that you know, and then blah, blah, blah.
Well, what did you think of the dresses?
I can't even really remember any of that.
I liked Micah's the best. She had that really, like, just that satiny, that kind of Carolyn Kennedy,
did.
Kennedy type of dress. I thought that I liked
that one. She had two. The first one she had was a little like, I liked the first one. The first one looked kind of like an Oscar dress, and then the second one she had I really liked. I liked Tiffany's dress. I thought was pretty. Chelsea's dress, it never like really fit her right. Even at the wedding, I didn't like, because she's so little and thin. Yeah. Like, the dress was just kind of, I don't know, didn't fit right. And then Bliss had a very odd dress. But it felt like Bliss.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Because when I saw it, I was like, oh, I wouldn't pick that, but I felt like that was good for her.
Yeah.
And it's not a traditional, but I felt like it worked for her.
Yeah. And then I guess that was
the suits and, you know. But Kwame kind of keeps bitching about how he's had to give up so much life to merge into hers. And, you know, again, he keeps talking about this.
And he made this comment. He said, her life gets easier, my life gets harder. I pick up more responsibilities. I'm moving to a new city, have to make new friends. So, yeah, he's starting to really, everything is starting to come into focus. Yeah, I guess he was telling this to Jack, his best man, and Jack looks kind of confused. He says he's making all the sacrifices and Chelsea's not making a single one. And that's true.
Yes.
That's very true. It is true. So, yeah.
He's not wrong about that. He really isn't.
He's not.
You know, and that's one of those things where it's like, you had all this information and it's very, very hard. It's like, this is what happens with people with jobs and relationships, which is why I think all these parents that are skeptical, it's real easy to make them villains, and they're not meaning to be villains. Yeah. And I know obviously there's kind ways of doing it. I mean, obviously Bliss's dad, you know, could have found a kinder way of communicating his thoughts and feelings. But what they're really trying to say is, you know, you kind of have to go through it. That's why you have to go through it.
Because when they were in the pods, like, she wasn't telling him, oh, well, when we get back to Seattle, you're going to have to walk my dog 3 times a day.
She's not saying that, but she says, I have a dog, I go to this job.
He's not thinking that he's going to have to take care of the dog.
But all of that was there. It was all revealed. It was all those things. So, I don't know. Now I'm starting to feel bad. I think I was too harsh on Kwame before.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I kind of feel like, God, with but it was so obvious in his Instagram thing. It was just, I don't know. I just kind of feel like Portland, and you do the show in Seattle. I mean, come on. You had to have known that you were going to have to move.
I do think that if it were the right person, he wouldn't be so bitter about moving.
Well, but I think that if it was Micah, I don't think, but this movie
because Micah wouldn't care. She'd be like, yeah, we'll just split our time.
Yeah.
She doesn't even care about Seattle. She'd be like, oh, we'll split our time between, Portland and Scottsdale. Yeah, they would have been a much better
But I think
match.
it's not even so much about Seattle. I think it's the fact that she works 7 to 7, the fact that she cannot move her job. Because I think that if she could work remotely and travel and didn't have a dog and wasn't so close to her family, I think it's the combination of all of it together.
Yeah,
really.
No, it is. Okay. So now Jackie and Marshall, now we get to the to the breakup.
Well, we've all been waiting for.
Yeah. So she just comes out and says she doesn't want to be with him anymore.
He says, why did you accept my proposal?
And and what did she say?
I don't know. This whole thing. Jackie says, outside world got to us. What I felt for you was real. And then Marshall says, outside world for you or for us?
Yeah.
Meaning and Jackie just says, I'm emotionally drained after, Chelsea's party. You kept pressing me. And I can't give you what you want. And I'm thinking to myself, just all of this from that one night, you kind of needed to let that go, but this can't all be from this one night, right? So Marshall says, I've never asked for anything of you. I've never required a lot from you. That's true. And Jackie says, you need a lot of validation. And then Marshall says, everything has always been on your terms. Jackie says she never had that feeling. She never had that feeling. She can't love him because she's attracted to Josh. There's chemistry. So then Marshall says he wants the ring back because she shouldn't have accepted the proposal. Then Jackie does the most baller fucking thing I have ever seen in my life. I give her a lot of respect. She says, I'm keeping the ring because that's what I felt at the time. And then Marshall says, fine. Because he wants her to be reminded of what you passed on something great. And then Jackie says, take it easy.
See you around.
And I'm like, Jackie is a baller. She is a goddamn, I have to say, because in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, I need to get some Jackie lessons.
I know. I need some Jackie energy.
Yes. Last week, I was chastising this woman. This week, I'm kind of like, you know what? Maybe Jackie knows some things that I don't know, because I would be taking that ring off and giving it right. I would feel so guilty. I would feel terrible. But Jackie's like, no, you gave it to me. And I felt for you at that time. And now I'm not giving it back. And maybe because she's probably thinking, you know what? Netflix paid for this.
Right.
I'm not giving it back to you. Netflix can come and get it from me if they want it back from me.
Exactly.
This is mine.
Yeah, he didn't pay for it.
I'm keeping it. And she basically flat out says it to him. And you know what it is? All of this, it doesn't really matter. Listen, these two, both of them are too young. Mm-hmm. And basically she just says at the end when he leaves, he stomps out, He leaves with this attitude of she's kind of leaving the best thing that's ever going to happen to her and blah, blah, blah. She doesn't know anything. And she's just there you know what? I don't know if I believe in marriage. I don't know. I need to do some self-work. I don't know. I don't know about any of this.
She's not ready for marriage.
And this is the thing. Jackie should have never come on the show.
No.
She should have never, ever come on the show. She is not ready to do this. And quite frankly, Josh was her excuse.
She was probably recruited. I think more and more I'm thinking a lot of these contestants, these people, they're recruited. And also, too, it's television. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to find people because to be on TV, you have to be pretty magnetic or else it's just boring, And she's magnetic.
Yeah, she is.
She's good television.
She's beautiful. She's funny. She's interesting to watch. Yeah.
And another little tidbit of gossip, somebody posted online a picture of Jackie and Josh at a basketball game a few weeks ago.
Okay. These two are together then.
So I think they're together. And so
Well, there goes that theory, because I was using the theory that she just kind of was like, I need to kind of tell Marshall I'm back with Josh just to get him to go away so that I can be done with this. But yeah, I mean, it was very clear. Like she didn't want to get married. She was not ready for marriage. She didn't want marriage. She didn't want any of this. But yeah, and I think that, but honestly, Marshall, you need to, I think you're wonderful. I think you're very sweet. But Marshall needs to work on himself, because he's walking around thinking that he is this amazing, wonderful, sensitive, loving person.
And he is, but you got to do it in the right way.
Yeah.
And you also don't tell people that you thought they'd be a good project or whatever he said to her.
But there's this real superior, like, oh, hi, I'm so wonderful and sensitive, and you're my new project.
Right.
And because you're broken, I'm going to fix you and love you. And shouldn't you be so fucking grateful that I'm loving you?
He's
it's like,
a fixer.
Like, slow down.
Yeah.
Slow down a little bit. Like, take some lessons from Brett. Do you not see what Brett's doing? Do you not see Brett and Brett's? And there's a scene that's coming up where Brett really, I love Brett.
Well, he's so much more mature.
I love Brett.
He's
he's
the
got
perfect
10 years on
He's
him.
the perfect man.
He is the perfect man. I love.
And he's the hottest guy on that show.
And did you
on
hear,
any
hold
show.
Hold on. Did you hear Poodle's prediction? Did you not a prediction? Because he has a gift.
Oh, yes.
And he has a gift.
Yes.
Did you hear
I
Poodle?
I did.
Okay.
I did. And I believe it.
Oh, yes.
I believe it.
And you have to listen to Reality Gaze to know what we're talking about. But if you do, you know what we're talking about.
No,
Brett.
their recaps involve different topics sometimes.
Than what we covered.
Yeah.
But Poodle has a gift.
He does have a gift. And, and Brett has got
He's got a gift too.
Yes, he has a gift.
Yes.
So now we are back at this, Kwame and Chelsea again.
Oh, God.
With this cringy photo shoot. It was so cringy.
But hold on a second. This has been her dream since
she was a little girl.
What little girl dreams of okay, first off, an engagement photo shoot. I'm married. I don't think I ever got an engagement. I think those engagement photo shoots that people do are so cringy. I would never, ever want to stand with my husband, like looking at each other longingly.
Right.
I mean, come on.
But usually it's a picture, of the couple like in a field of flowers.
Yes.
Or
I mean, they're so awful.
Next to a barn or something. They are in. It's not. It's underwear, but it sort of kind of looks almost like like workout clothes, like a sports bra and
It looks like it looks
underwear.
like Marky Mark and
and it's like a terrible color. It's like
but it's
orange
basically
or,
like jockey or whatever it is.
It looks like an underwear ad.
Yes, it looks like
and
perfect.
Neither one of them are very photogenic. Like it seemed very awkward. Well, and Kwame is photogenic. I've seen his photos, but he looked so uncomfortable. I just think he was uncomfortable.
Yeah,
and
the whole thing
was so uncomfortable. And it also felt kind of fetishizing to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What, fetishizing him?
Yeah. Like just, like they just kind of made him into this like sexual object. It was weird. I didn't like it.
But she said her goal was to find a husband that would be willing to do this with her. And I thought, well...
I don't think he had much of a choice.
Yeah, I don't think he had much of a choice, but I did think it was weird. It was like, well, yeah, you kind of all the guys there, this would be the one that would be willing to, because he is a model, would be willing to pose in his underwear with you. Like Paul wouldn't do this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think Brett would do this. I mean, this whole
Chelsea
thing
is
was
a weirdo.
So weird.
Every scene that she's in, she gets weirder.
Yeah.
And weirder. But she's a weirdo.
But it just like, even when you're a little girl.
Oh, she just likes to be the center of attention.
Yeah.
She's
so weird.
She's an entitled white lady. She really is.
Yeah. Okay.
And, you know.
All right. So after the shoot, this guy who with the camera leaves and they're now having a full on conversation about his mom.
Yeah. He's saying his mom's probably not going to show up. And again, the issues of the culture and religion and no sex before marriage. He basically says they don't support this. Mm-hmm. Like this everything about this goes against his parents' beliefs.
Yeah.
And he's going to try to call her again and hope that she sends blessings from afar. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't happen.
Well, she asks him, she says, do you think you're ready? And he says, I think I love you a lot. And then she gives this very pained smile. And he says, there are some things that come up that come to mind that give me pause. And then she says, if it's right for you, will you say yes to me without your mom's approval? And then we don't really get an answer. And then we hear like her say, maybe in a one-on-one, like it would be the letdown of the century if they didn't get married.
Who
the
said
whole
that?
thing, Chelsea.
Oh,
It's really interesting.
again,
because
she's making this all about her, the letdown of the century for her.
Yes. But the thing is, what's interesting is I think Chelsea knows that he's having tons of doubts.
Yeah.
Tons and tons and tons and tons of doubts. And again, we aren't privy to this because they're not going to show it to us. But I do wonder with these couples, if they do have these conversations of like, listen.
I'm sure they talk about it.
If one of us says no at the altar, do you want to continue to date? What do you think's going to happen? You know, I want to date. I don't know what I'm going to say. I know we can't talk about it legally, but what, you know, I don't know what all the ins and outs are. But, you know, I don't know what's going on here, but she has this pained smile on her face. I think she knows he's gonna, I just feel like she knows that it's not gonna happen. And this anxiety of shoving the strawberry in his mouth, like the more he gets, he keeps pulling away, and the more he pulls away, she keeps pushing in.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
And this is where we see the most beautiful scene in the world of loving Brett.
My God.
So
Tiffany is just stressed out about the wedding planning, just stressed out, just having a hard day. And Brett just doesn't say anything. He just holds her and lets her cry, and he just holds her, and he's so fucking loving and understanding.
And okay, so everybody out there, Brett did exactly what you need to do. This is if you want relationship lessons, go take them from Brett, because he held her. He let her cry and talk, let her vent. He validated her feelings, told her, yes, this is a lot of stress. Yes, there's a lot going on. He does not try to problem solve. He does not gaslight her and tell her, oh no, there's not a lot to do, or
everything's fine. Everything will work out.
Or like, it's your wedding. Shouldn't you be happy? Why are you crying? It's your wedding. All he does is he just nods and listens and and holds her, and that's it.
The man should be having seminars. I mean, he could make millions.
Yes.
Just tell people what to do, Brett.
Yes. I mean, exactly. So everybody needs to be watching what Brett is doing. That's exactly what you need to be doing.
Yeah.
I love him.
Him.
If this does not work out, I mean, the internet will go insane, because
I'll never watch the show again.
Yeah.
I won't. I won't. All right, so then we go to Micah and Paul. I find
they're
these
making
two
their wedding
so
bands.
boring. Who cares? Okay, now this is exciting. so Bliss's dad, his name is Shaw.
Oh wait, you're gonna skip all the other stuff.
What?
Kwame calls his mom. So Kwame calls his mom. Can't get a hold of her because she's putting him right to voicemail. And then Tiffany and Brett seaplane, because Brett is so wonderful.
Oh yeah,
he takes her on a seaplane ride, and then he plans a romantic dinner with a bunch of photos of her. That's it.
Okay.
Go on.
Yeah, I just,
because Brett is so wonderful.
I just moved on. Okay. So Bliss's father Shaw comes over with her stepmom and two, I guess these are like half siblings.
Yeah, with Z names,
Zia and something else. And right away, Bliss's dad just looks like just the most meanest, miserable person. He's got very, very bad energy. And, Zach is like trying to explain, his take on the criminal justice system and how he wants to, try, he's opening up this new practice and what he's doing.
Well, he doesn't fish or golf. So that really disappointed Dad.
Yeah, Dad could care less about his law practice, which, you know what? I'm sorry. Your daughter's marrying a lawyer. Like, that's it. I mean, that's quite an accomplishment. Like, most of the time, parents like stuff like that because it means financial security. And
he's not a marketing manager,
right?
or a sales operations
head of
manager.
operations for a global
He's
internet.
an attorney, for fuck's sake.
What? Yeah, all those jobs where you have absolutely no idea what it means or what they're doing. No, he's upset that he doesn't like to golf or fish, and then I start thinking, because Zach is a good guy, I start thinking, I bet you that this guy wanted Bliss. Now I don't know what nationality they are, what Bliss's family is. It kind of seems to me like maybe her dad is like Persian or Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
And then the mother is black. And so like, I think
black?
I'm not really sure. They're ethnically ambiguous, but I kind of think that Bliss's dad probably wants her to marry someone from their culture.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
So
yes.
he sees like this white guy and he's like, I don't care what you do.
Yeah.
He does not even give Zach a chance. Mm-hmm. Like not at all. And Zach even says something to him, because he's very confrontational, the dad. And he says something about how you don't know enough about me to judge me. And like the stepmom is crying. I don't know. This was a disaster.
Yeah, it was. Well, Bliss is trying to defend all this. And Bliss says to her dad, Dad, you and Zach had a very similar childhood. Mm-hmm. She's trying to get her father to see that like Zach, you two are, you two are similar people. Mm-hmm. Like, he's a good guy. You should trust him. And she's doing, I feel like
she did stand up to him.
Yeah, she really did stand up to him. I feel like Zach. She did a good job of standing up to him. But I feel like he walked into that room not wanting to approve of this, not wanting to like him, not wanting to do any of that. And I mean, maybe if Zach had said, yeah, I love to fish or I love to golf, maybe he might have won a few points, but he was
what is he supposed to lie?
I don't know, but he was so dismissive. Like Zach is trying. I was like, oh, that's a really interesting point, Zach. I mean, he's trying to explain to him the legal system and why we're wasting money and what he's trying to do. I do think that I feel like, okay, Zach, ask him some questions about himself.
Right.
Like, oh, Zach, ask him some questions. Like, and Zach's a little odd, but he wasn't going to like him.
He went in there. He didn't even want to be there. And then, oh God, it just completely slipped out of my mind what I was like. Oh, the father also was not keen on how this whole thing happened.
Yes.
And the whole process of the experiment and everything. And the dad just thinks this is crazy. And it is a little bit crazy.
And
but
it is.
He could have at least tried to give Zach a chance.
Yeah,
to know him or something.
He's very much dismissing his daughter and saying, you just want to be married, and so you're going to pick this guy, and marriage is hard, and all these things that people say. And listen, the dad isn't wrong, and they talk about this. We can keep moving forward because they talk about this later on, which is we've now in episode 11. It's 2 days before the wedding. We're back to Chelsea and Kwame.
Oh God.
Kwame says he doesn't want Chelsea to take his name until he can talk to his mom and get her okay. Chelsea says she's picked Kwame for her, so she's at peace. Kwame says he wants to make sure both are happy going into it. It's a big decision. So he's considering all the factors in these decisions.
Yeah,
I don't know what this discussion was about. It's more of the same.
Of Kwame is does not want to get married right now or in 2 days or wherever we're at.
So this goes back to we're at the Sacred Rain Healing Center. And this is Bliss and Zach in a hot tub. So Bliss is talking about this has been a whirlwind. She's trying to trust. She's worried about. So this is where they get into this discussion about divorce, right? Both of their parents are divorced. They have this conversation about decisions and commitments. And I understand that, this is what Bliss was trying to explain to her father, which was, I don't want to, I'm very aware, like this divorce affected me greatly. And I obviously don't want to do this again. So I am taking this very seriously. And, and I do care. So just support me in this. And the father can't possibly muster or hear her and believe her when she says this, because I don't know. It's just, with your kids, all you can do is say, I'm concerned about this for these reasons. I'm concerned about this for these reasons. I'm concerned about this thing over here for this, this, and this, right? All you can do is lay out your thoughts and feelings, and they can lay out their thoughts and feelings, and then you just have to let them make their decision. Yeah. But being an asshole about it really does not help anybody.
And, I wrote down here, she made this comment. She says, it's okay to change your mind. And I thought that, I don't know, is she testing him? Because I think
when in the hot tub. There's this weird discussion about commitments. Like, Bliss keeps trying to explain to him about that Zach isn't getting around commitments and decisions. Like, he keeps saying, no, I've made this decision. I made this decision. And she's saying, well, even though you've made the decision and you've committed to me, doesn't mean you can't change it.
You know what, Bliss,
don't talk him out of it. Yeah. He's made the decision.
You're trying too hard. See, this is the thing. I really block her out a lot because I feel like she drones on and on about stuff, and I don't know what the fuck she's talking about.
I don't know. I feel like these two are both going to say yes. And
God, yes. Okay. They're so meant to be together.
We've got more Tiffany and Brett. We meet Brett's dad and brother, who have not been on. His dad has not been on a plane since the 80s.
Since the 80s, yeah.
So we meet Angus, the brother, and Herbert, the dad. And what can we say?
I know. They're so great. They're so sweet and cute.
They're cute. They're sweet. They're wonderful people. What else can we say about them?
Angus has a sense of humor. He asks Tiffany if she's okay with his hair or his beard or whatever. But they're perfect. What can you say?
So now it's one day before the wedding. So now these are the bachelor and bachelorette parties. We get Micah and Paul.
These are the saddest.
Oh, they are.
Bachelorette parties.
Paul is packing up to go to the bachelor party. So these two are, they're
very connected.
They seem very in love. They seem very happy. So we go to the bachelor party. That's at the Underbelly, which is a speakeasy and burlesque. There's burlesque dancers, but it's very triggering for Zach.
Zach is not into it.
Which is, understandable. Yeah. Then we have the bachelorette party, which is at Unicorn. And then we get to see Shelby again. Great.
Oh, God. And Shelby's, it really ties one on. Micah and Shelby and the other girl get sloppy drunk.
Yeah, I mean, basically they keep going over the same things, and we see this, right? We hear Chelsea's very loud, right? We get to hear Chelsea, and everyone kind of goes off with their own friends, and and then one thing is interesting because Tiffany's friend is worried because they haven't had any conflicts. Because Brett and Tiffany have been so great.
They're
it's a little bit
perfect.
like, oh, God, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
But the best is, of course, and again, I think this shows the age. And I think maybe what might be a problem for Paul and Micah is Micah gets hammered. Like everybody else is like, I think everyone's drinking and having fun.
No, she's hammered.
She is hammered.
And isn't her wedding the next day? Or do they do all the weddings? Well, maybe hers was in a couple days.
I don't know if they stagger them or what happens, but
they have to stagger them because they have them all at the same place.
Yeah. Oh, they do?
I think so.
It look like different places because one, you see them walk outside with an umbrella and another one.
I think they're all the same place. Okay. They're usually
so,
all
of course,
like place.
Shelby, Micah misses Paul, so she FaceTimes Paul and Shelby grabs it.
He hangs up on her.
And then they keep calling him like, you crazy bitch. And Shelby's like, Shelby keeps saying to the camera, like, I think he's a great guy, but
not for her.
But she deserves the world, but he's not it. And it's like, then what is it?
Shelby is just a jealous bitch. She's not your friend, Micah. You might want to.
But Shelby cannot. But that's the thing. It's Shelby keeps saying over and over and over again, he's so great. He's great, which was the polar opposite of what you told us before.
But saying he's not for you, like he's not your type, like long term. He's not for you.
No, but she cannot articulate what's bad about him, which to me means there's nothing wrong with him. You just don't like him because she's happy.
Yeah,
exactly what
in
she
a
said.
nutshell.
So now we get to Chelsea and Kwame's wedding day, and I was surprised. I kind of felt like they were going to ease us on in very gently and do Tiffany and Brett first. Like, give us like an easy win, like a softball.
They did that last. They like to do a cliffhanger.
Yeah,
on a couple that is a true cliffhanger.
Yes, I guess. Well, no, SK and Raven. We thought that one was going to be. We thought it was going to be the opposite. We thought SK was going to say,
That's what I'm saying. It's
Oh.
like this is a sign that I think that Kwame's going to say no, because that's what they did the exact same thing.
Oh, because Raven said yes.
And then it was a
SK.
cliffhanger. And then the next week, an SK said no.
Oh, okay.
So that's, I don't know.
Got it.
But anyway, this North Fork farm where they get married, that's beautiful. Like, this is definitely the best wedding venue they've ever had. And I think this is where they filmed the Twilight movies.
Oh, okay. I haven't
it's-
seen any of those.
Oh, well, I've seen them all. Yeah, because it's called, isn't it? I think it's called Forks is the name of the town. Anyway, it's beautiful.
Okay.
Didn't you think so?
I didn't notice it. I was writing notes. I was just like,
see, that's why my notes are so bad, because I was trying to take in the scenery.
yes. And I didn't read any of those books or what. I don't, you had a daughter at that age. That's why
Yeah.
you've seen all those movies.
They're good movies, though. I enjoyed it.
But I did think that she gets to her hotel suite and I was like, oh, this is a nice looking suite.
Oh, it's
I was like, oh, this is
gorgeous.
nice.
Yeah, flowers everywhere.
And then we have flashbacks to the relationship and the engagement. And then
Oh,
we get
God,
Kwame
let's
at
get
his
to
hotel with his friends.
So, yeah, I guess these are his Portland friends, because we've never seen them before, but that we get to meet his brother and sister.
Yeah, they seem very nice. Barbara and Jerry.
Yeah, and they said that so Barbara, I guess, is the only daughter, so she's sort of and she looks older than Kwame, maybe, so she's sort of a pseudo, mother figure to him. And they said that they told their dad, I'm not sure why Kwame didn't tell him, but they said that their dad was happy for him.
Yeah.
But they know that, the mom is not, and she's very, she's very religious, and
Yeah. She's devoted to the word.
This is not she is not going to approve of this, basically, ever.
But she's praying for him.
She's praying for him. And then they all pray together,
Yes.
So it was sweet.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm glad they showed up for him.
Yeah. I mean, God, at least he had some family there. But,
And Chelsea gets together. I liked her dress. The earrings were terrible.
oh my God, her jewelry was
The
hideous.
jewelry was awful. And the necklace,
Hideous.
I mean, if she had to take anything off, it would be the earrings first.
Oh, definitely.
The earrings, definitely.
So
the
ugly.
necklace, I would like for her to take it off and maybe
It wasn't
something
like
else.
rhinestones.
It was too much. It was too
She had
much.
all these different styles. Okay, the earrings were like these grandma earrings.
Yes.
Like they were, I don't even know
and
what
I
they
feel
were.
like other people in the wedding were wearing variations of them as well.
Someone should have said, that doesn't work. But she had all this different kind of, and I didn't like her hair. It was too curly, and then she had a bunch of stuff up in her hair, some other jewelry for the hair. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
She looked like she was going to a prom, and her bouquet was too big. I mean, I love those kind of flowers. It was like white orchids, and then it had some random pink calla lilies, but it was too big, and it was, and then all the pink.
Of
She
course.
really does like pink.
She likes pink.
All these pink accents and everything. So anyway, we get to the wedding, and when Barbara walks, does Barbara?
Yeah,
walk in
Barbara goes
with Kwame.
Yeah, but she goes in and sees Chelsea first and introduces herself and gives her that really lovely bag and tells her. I thought that was
it's a
very
kente
nice.
cloth, from their country.
It was like something new, something
blue.
Like
Yeah.
I thought that was very kind and very classy of her.
Barbara is very classy.
Yes.
She is not taking sides or whatever. She's there to support Kwame. But then did she walk down the aisle with Kwame?
Yes.
Okay.
She did. She was,
Yeah. So the whole time that she's just saying, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. It's getting picked up on her mic and they're playing it. And then even after she sits down in the front row, she's still saying, oh my God, oh my God. So I don't know. That
Yes.
didn't seem really great.
I never write down like the vows or anything. At this stage of this, I'm always like, okay,
You're
let's
just
go,
like, hurry up.
let's go.
Yeah.
I don't care. Let's just hear I do or I don't. Like,
Yeah. I mean, they do their vows. And then Chelsea says, I do.
which no one doubted.
Right.
Chelsea was saying I do down at the pods. Okay.
Right. So then it was just a cliffhanger.
It was.
So
and I yelled I was just like, what? God,
You didn't.
And my husband was like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "Oh, nothing. I'm fine."
Yeah.
It was a TV show.
Oh my gosh.
And that's it. So tell everyone what's happening next week, because for the rest of Love is Blind.
Oh, okay, so episode 12, which is the rest of the weddings, is on next week.
Next Friday.
It drops Friday.
Which would be tomorrow.
That would be the
as people are listening to this tomorrow. It'll be tomorrow.
Yeah, that would be the 15th? No.
Oh crap.
What day is?
I gotta get that calendar out.
15th.
So no, 14th.
14th. Okay, and then on the 16th, which is the next Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern, is a live reunion. So we are going to we'll have the episode 12 next Thursday, and then we'll do a special.
We'll do them both together. We can record them both together. We'll figure this out.
Okay, well, you're asking me to explain it, so
Okay.
I was just trying to explain it.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to cover all that stuff, the final episodes of this. Oh, and then I had one last piece of gossip. So do you know Bartise had a baby?
Yes, I kept forgetting about that. Yes, Bartise had a baby. We don't know who the mom is. And he keeps, he's dropped a lot of photos of the baby, and apparently in all of the little things, he's like, well, I'm a villain on TV, but in this kid's mind, I'm a hero. It's like a little bit like, okay, Bartise,
Yeah. Oh, and then one of the pictures, it shows him standing in front of the TV with the baby, watching Love is Blind.
Oh, God.
And I couldn't, at first I looked at the screen, I was trying to see who was on the screen. It's a woman, she's lying on the couch with a blanket on. And at first I thought it was Nancy. And I thought, oh my God, he's really trolling her. But then I looked and no, I think that might be Chelsea or Jackie or somebody else. I don't know. Anyway, I think Jackie would have been. Yeah, well, that's interesting because he was just on that. Did you watch that Perfect Match?
Yes, I sadly watched the entire season of Perfect Match. I feel very shameful that I did, but it was like a train wreck. And because we weren't covering it, it was great. I didn't have to take notes. I didn't have to pay attention. I could walk away for hours and then come back and be like, oh, we're still in a new bikini and what's happening now?
Yeah.
I hated myself the whole time, but it was great.
Well, yeah. So I'm curious.
Yes. I know. I wonder who this woman is and what's going on. Little gossip.
So he didn't end up with anybody from the Perfect Match show?
No, God, no one did. No one in that show. Even at the end of the show, these two people who didn't even win the show, they get engaged. So they didn't even win the show, even though they got engaged. They broke up. Like the two people that were so committed and got engaged, and it was a whole thing, they broke up. And what you win for it is you win like an all expense paid vacation to some place that you want to go in the world, but everybody is international. Like there's people from Australia, there's people from Europe, there's people from the US, Canada. And so one guy, I think the winners, she was from Australia and he lived in Canada. So no one can stay together, it's insane.
Right. That is dumb.
And they couldn't even settle. I don't know if they ever even went on that trip. It's so dumb. It was just all for camera time.
Okay. Well, I'm sure there'll be a season 2.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. If you like the podcast, we would appreciate if you would subscribe and also give it a 5-star rating and a nice review.
Yes.
But if you must criticize something, that's fine.
That's fine.
We'll consider it and offer a rebuttal if necessary. Okay.
All right.
Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.
Give me a mountain with lots to do. Give me the sunshine, give me a dew. simple and true. All I need is sunshine and a cool, refreshing Mountain Dew. So give me my good friends, give me a Dew.
Grab some friends and an ice-cold Mountain Dew today.
Mountain Dew.